Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Shape Unplugged. I'm your host, Stephanie Morris, CEO of Shape America. And today I have an awesome guest joining us for the show to talk to us a little bit about what it's like to be a new teacher in our field. So, Annie Deusch, health and physical education teacher at Robert N. Willents School in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Hi, Annie. Thanks so much for being a guest on our show today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, can you first share a little bit with our listeners just who you are, where you live, what you teach, and for how long you've been teaching?
Okay, so my name is Annie Deusch. I am a health and physical education teacher in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. I have been teaching for under a year, so I started right in the middle of the pandemic. And I was born and raised in New Jersey and haven't left.
I love it. And that's kind of a crazy time to have started your teaching career, right? We can just acknowledge that for a moment. Talk about super unusual and probably super challenging. So, along those lines, as a teacher who is definitely newer to our HPE field, I think listeners would really appreciate hearing from you just what inspired you to go into teaching health and physical education. Would you be willing to share with us a little bit about your personal story there?
Absolutely. So I grew up an athlete. I played athletics in college, and in doing so, I was coaching at the same time. And I came to realize that not every kid is going to be an athlete, but it's super important for them to enjoy movement and to live a healthy lifestyle. So for me, becoming a health and physical educator is the cross between those two things. I can teach and inspire kids to love physical activity and know that not all of them are going to be athletes and train the way I did. So I think it's super important for them to have a base and love for physical education so that they can do so throughout the entirety of their life.
I love that. That is so fantastic. And I have so much appreciation for that, for all of our kids and especially for the students you get to teach. So I'm also a little curious about the training you went through at Monmouth University in New Jersey. Can you speak a little bit about how your background there, your educational experience prepared you for your first year of teaching, and maybe some of the lessons or experiences you had as a student that you're drawing from today in your teaching practice?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to Monmouth University and I did the whole health and physical education track. During my time at Monmouth, I had a professor, Judy Lobianco. Many of us know her throughout our field, but she was the person who truly inspired me and inspired my teaching. And the basis of her classes and the basis of her teaching philosophy, is to love kids and to give them that attention and to really love them and form relationships with them so that they can grow and be the best person they can be. And that's something I take with me every day when I'm teaching. The biggest thing for me is the relationships with my kids. And if I can have a great relationship with my kids and inspire them to be physically active, I know that that is something they will carry with them throughout their entirety of their life.
I love that. And I also love the shout out to Judy Lobianco, of course, a past president of Shape America and a very good friend to me. But I think that is all just fabulous and inspiring. And I hope that every Pete and Heat faculty member who listens to this draws from your experience and is thinking about how they can impart that to their students as well. So thank you very much for sharing that. So for those who are listening right now, what would you share with them about the needs of a newer teacher? And again, I completely appreciate that you are entering this field at a very unusual time for our entire world. But what are some of the things that you've experienced that when you think about professionals who are a little more experienced in our field, ways that they can support you sort of come home or ring true?
Yeah, as a new teacher, I have a great support system at my school where I'm working at Robert Willents in Perth Amboy. I work with 4 other health and physical education teachers, and they have been nothing but supportive. Everything I ask, I apologize. I'm like, I know it's a lot of questions, but I just need some assistance. And they're like, no, of course. They're always willing to help me. They have helped me with everything from SGOs to lesson plans because everybody's is different. And I think it's super important to talk to those people you work with even if they're not health and physical educators, if they're an art teacher or a music teacher or any kind of specialist, to kind of have them on your side should you have any questions or I don't really understand what I'm supposed to do here. Most of the time they will do nothing but support you. So having those people on your side is super, super important.
I think that is such great advice. So thank you so much. I've heard that from other teachers as well, and the importance of relationships within the school setting and with your administrator. And it sounds like you have a great network of support and on all fronts, and that's just fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
That's great. So for those listening who they themselves are students or pre-service teachers, what are your best words of advice for them? I mean, you just recently made this transition from student to being in the field as a professional teacher. So when you look back and think about that transition, what words of advice do you have to offer others who are about to make that transition?
The transition for me was immensely difficult as I went from doing everything in person and being with people every day to going full virtual to being hybrid to anything you could imagine. So as a student who is looking to become a health and physical educator, just make sure you are adaptable, you can adapt on the fly. Make sure also that you take time for yourself. And that's something that I didn't do really in the beginning of becoming a teacher because I was so focused on my kids and everyone around me and sharing all this new knowledge I have, because health and physical education is changing. And it's important for me to impart that on the people I work with. So I think it's super important that, yes, you are there to help the people you work with and to have relationships with the kids, but know that you need to take time for yourself, because if you don't, you can't be there for those around you as well.
That is those are such wise words of advice from someone so new to the field. But teacher burnout is such a real thing, especially right now. And so I have so much appreciation that you are intentional with that and that you have that recognition and reflection. And thank you for sharing that. I really hope that everybody listening is reminded in a good way of how important that is as well. So thank you so much again, Annie, for being on our show today. Do you have any final words for those who are listening?
Do what you love and love what you do. That's it. We're in it for the kids. We're in it for the people around us, and just love what you do. That's it.
I love it. Those are great final words to end on. So thank you so much again, Annie, and best of luck to you and all that is ahead for you. I hope you know that Shape America is always here to support you and serve you, as are those, there in New Jersey. I'm sure you have so many great mentors like Judy Lobianco and friends to support you, and we're so grateful for that. So thank you so much again, Annie.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. So thanks to everybody who tuned in for today's episode of Shape Unplugged. I hope you listen again next time, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.